for what was it? Which elements of the business model were validated?
Hmm.
He had a good idea. I mean, he found a niche that needed to be serviced, and he sure serviced them. I think, like, we can talk about this later, but I think his biggest problem, or at least one that I saw, was his sales people.
Hmm.
They just went one like, good night, sweetheart.
I think the
Love you.
big, hugest, most dramatic problem was communication.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that
And
includes
his fee structure.
salespeople and everybody.
She wants something that's off the bed. I don't know what it is. Kobe. Oh.
I mean, he kept pulling the MBAs, but the freaking MBAs, they couldn't speak Spanish.
I know.
But what good's that do for those poor salespeople?
Right. Like the language barrier was really tough.
And it was still that way at the very end there.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, except for he did have his buddy that could speak Spanish that he stepped down and says right at the very end. So it looked like they were getting something straightened out.
Slowly, very slowly.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Ethan, how's it going?
Good, how are you guys? I just lost one of the earbud pads on my headphones, so I'm looking to see where it could possibly be.
Oh no, that's the worst. I hate that one.
Yeah, at least
I have a whole bag full of them, so if you can't find it, I'll mail you one.
I think it'd probably be cheaper just to pick up another $1 pair of headphones.
One of these days, I'm actually going to get some earphones and see how that works before the semester's over, maybe.
All right, I'll just do it with one.
Perfect. Okay, so I guess we can just.
Got her ears and all mic'd up. Yeah. She looks real professional there.
Who, Trisha?
Yeah, like she's getting some calls on her.
Your professional
was that?
headset.
Oh, yeah, because I hate sticking things in my ear.
That's funny. That's awesome.
I have some like that at work, but I don't use them very often because it's just drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. That's awesome. Okay, so let's just jump into this. What are the possible causes of Progreso's poor performance sales? We kind of like
Their existence?
Take your pick.
their existence.
Well, I think it started with their recruiting process. Yeah, recruiting through Craigslist and other areas like that, you're not always going to get the highest quality candidates.
Well, now the grocery stores tell.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Off. Hey, I kind of like that guy. I think he would work really well.
I think his intentions, though, were good. Like, it was not a great idea, but I think his idea behind that was these guys know the people in the store. They have a connection, like a personal connection with them. And so I think his initial thought was why he was using the grocery store people was for that personal connection.
Right.
Not a good idea, but in retrospect, I think that was his point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, and he was able to see him in action. He was scoping out their skill sets there while they're working, how they relate to people and stuff.
I just can't believe that they switch over for $8 an hour.
Right.
I guess
remember this was 10 years ago when $8 an hour was a lot more.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and I liked
sure
how he said
touted the bonus structure.
Right. I like how he said that I can't believe that he didn't think it would be a potential problem, him stealing the grocery store employees. Like, I was like, yeah, you probably maybe should have thought about that.
It seems like just a lot of the details weren't thought out from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a seat of the by the pants kind of guy.
Big time.
Oh, I need strength in this area. Well, maybe I better address that. And sometimes he didn't even think he needed to address the problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure I highlighted that at least once. Oh, God.
What other problems? I think oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just going back to the case, it mentioned that the account executive morale was pretty low.
Yeah.
That was one of the major problems. Right.
Definitely. Well, he kind of set them up for failure, because his hiring criteria is, do you understand this process? Yes. Okay, you're hired.
And follow this guy around for a couple days. Then care how good sales the person is.
Yeah, not are you in sales? Have you ever sold anything? Are you motivated? It was kind of, do you have a pulse? Yes. Can you understand this? Yes. Okay, good.
Right.
Work there for 3 weeks and you can be a manager.
Look at those people that sell Avon and things like that.
Yeah. Like the pyramid scheme type thing. Yeah. I think too, like the compensation was not very good.
Oh my God.
But at the same time though, they're not giving large loans.
Right.
So
well,
once
you figure in the commission, if they were making sales, then it actually wasn't horrible. If you did 25 loans in a month, that's an extra $500.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, that's like 1.5 loans a day.
Right.
If even that. So it's actually not that far of a stretch to be able to hit that compensation goal if you have the right training and some experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did the math just because I was curious and found out that if they did like 45 loans in addition to their $8 base salary, that they'd be up around $17.50, $18 an hour, which I suppose for 10 years ago would probably be pretty decent.
Yeah, that was really decent.
45 loans. Did you just do the base pay times the 40 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 160 times 8 for the pay for the month, and then 45 times 35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go to bed.
Can I? Yay, thank you.
Yes, you all can go to bed. They all want to go to bed.
We just got done with that law case theme, and oh my gosh.
Go. It's now 8:40. Go to bed.
Oh, jeez.
Good night.
Okay. So we kind of talked about the hiring and onboarding. What about the unmotivated AEs? How would you guys improve motivation?
Training.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You give them the support that they need.
Well, communication. Good heavens, that would be training too. But the communication was just awful.
I liked how when they brought in the new guy that he made them wear uniforms. I think uniforms makes you feel more professional.
Especially when they're dealing with money.
Yeah, and you're like asking people to take a loan from you. So I liked that. So I think that there was just a lack of camaraderie, maybe a lack of feeling important.
Yeah, uniform makes you feel like you're on a team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your communication will get better with that and all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
You look more professional. You look like you're ready to do business rather than just you're lounging around.
Right.
Hey, buddy, you need a loan? Hey, you over here.
Right, like the sleazy car salesman.
Set you up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know. You don't want to do business with somebody that looks like they just walked off a used car lot. I mean.
I have to admit, I don't really care for the Stanford case studies as much as I like the Harvards. but I did like the pictures of the kiosks, so you could kind of get an idea what they're like.
Do you think that maybe was part of their downturn in sales because it wasn't like a real office, or do you think that that was okay?
I think that was okay. I think the mistake might have been going in thinking that Kmart Sears was going to be their savior.
Yeah, I think for their target demographic, it was an okay move.
Yeah, but they were like second fiddle to Citibank.
Yeah.
Because they stuck them on the back end of the store, and they had their little credit card up there at the front. And normally, when the people got rejected there, the whole idea was, well, we'll go back there and you can go back and get a loan from them guys. You guys just walked out the door. I know you'll get rejected twice today.
Right, exactly. I don't think that Sears was educating their client, but why would they? There was really nothing in it for Sears at the end of the day. If the clients didn't take the Sears gift card, there was nothing in it for Sears. They were so why recruit people? I think that they maybe should have made a better deal with Sears, been like, hey, if you refer them to us, then we'll give you like 5% kickback or something, something to kind of make them. Obviously, they had to push their store credit card first, but the tellers or whoever or the salespeople weren't educated to tell people, well, hey, you know what, we couldn't approve you, but we have this other. I don't think there wasn't any educating of the customers.
Yeah. Well, there was some. They said that the people in the kiosk were responsible for educating them, which that in itself is a little bit concerning. But there was nothing in it for the sales associates. They don't work off of commission.
Right.
Yep,
they got a commission for pushing the credit card.
Right.
But if they said no to the credit card, oh, well, there's that offer in the back of the store. If you're interested, go back there. If not, have a great day.
Right. Yeah, you might have better luck
I really don't care.
But if you're going to give that employee $2 for referral, they might be a little bit more motivated. Let's say I'm making $8 an hour here working at Kmart. I could make $10 this hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times, I think there was a serious language barrier between the store employees and the clients coming in to get a loan as well.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point. That's a really good point.
And I also wonder, this doesn't really have anything to do with the case, but I imagine that if I was part of the demographic who was going into a Kmart or a Sears to look for a loan, and I got denied the first time, I think I could, kind of would just expect that I wouldn't be able to get one, and it's like, why even, why just go and get rejected again?
Right.
Well, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah, what you guys are saying, basically.
So they just, rather than going back to the back, they just walk out the door.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept was good. Hey, we'll go in there. If they don't get accepted by you guys, we're the fallback plan. Maybe sell some washer dryers, whatever, and refrigerator.
I don't know that Sears was even the right partner for them, though.
I might disagree with that. I think they were.
They had a really good thing going with the grocery stores, but Sears, back in 2008, is a little more high end.
Was it back then? I was trying to remember.
Yeah, it was until they partnered with Kmart, and then
I kind of tanked.
Well, this is at the time they were partnered with Kmart, and that's why they're. Yeah. But I just thought it was a bad idea from the get-go.
Well, they did the deal in 2008, and I think they partnered with Kmart in 2009, or maybe I'm switching those in my head.
Kmart merged in 2004.
Okay.
I do
Page 7.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can see Kmart. I don't think I can see Sears.
I just thought, they got their own cards already. There's no incentive for them guys to help you out, other than give you a free spot. But the free spot's in not a very good location.
Right.
And they just thought that this was going to be our gold mine. He was so excited. He's like, "Oh, 400 stores, all right. I can do well in these."
We're gonna Grow essay.
And they weren't doing well. They were doing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kmart does have a lot of Hispanic clientele, but still.
But you don't see a lot in Sears. You really don't.
Correct.
See, I do. Well, you don't think so, Trisha, here in town?
No.
Really?
Now, I grew up about 20 minutes from the Mexico border.
Okay.
And there were very, very clear lines were frequented by which demographics. Not necessarily a racist thing, but an income thing.
Right.
And you walk into Kmart and there's lines out the door. You walk into Sears and there's maybe one or two people.
Right. Yeah.
So, of course, this is also before Kmart tanked so hard too. So.
Right. Totally. Okay. So let's see which elements business model.
I think another big issue they had was their management.
Mm-hmm.
They took the higher performing people and promoted them. They didn't teach them how to manage people. They didn't teach them how to coach and develop. They didn't look for that in the people that they were promoting.
From the A's. They said they were promoting from within.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I followed somebody around and, they didn't have him trained as an AE, really. He just followed another AE around for a few days, and then he's out on his own, sink or swim. No kind of training program at all. And then you expect that poor guy to go into management when he probably hasn't had any experience.
Mm-hmm.
We need a body here. We need a warm body. You've been doing pretty good as an AE. Doesn't mean you're going to do a good job as a manager.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Some of the best salespeople are the worst managers.
Yeah, because their forte is selling. It's not managing people. So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, but how do you bring good managers on at like $12 an hour?
You've got to train them.
Yeah.
You got to teach them. Have a management training program, or else recruit from outside.
Pardon me?
Well, you could promote those AEs to managers. You need to give them a training program. That's they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't given the AEs a training program either. So
right. They need to create a training program.
So now they got it created, and I wasn't terribly impressed with the training program, but it's better than nothing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at least they were kind of trying to be selective on the person they had them shadow for a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Before, they were just taking whoever's at that location, you shadow them for a couple of days, and you'll be on your own there, buddy. You got computer skills? No, we don't even ask that question.
Yeah, it seems so disorganized for any sort of money lending company. It's incredible.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm reading through the case, and the first few pages, I kept saying, where's the collection? Where's the model to collect? What do they have set up so their money comes back? You're giving that person money,
Well, they said they can make their payments in the store where they got the loan from.
That's an awesome idea, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the kicker is, how do you know who to trust?
Well, that was their whole business plan. Was we trust you even when the big guys don't. That was their whole premise behind this. Was, you know what, we know that you have, but we're going to put our faith in you, and we believe in you to make those payments. And so I think
that's kind of the way I understood his collection plan was, we have faith in you.
Right, but I think
they also had, when they were filling out the application, they also had to submit references, and they actually did call those references and ask, would you be willing to co-sign for this person?
Oh.
And they made sure that those references knew them, and they made sure that the references knew that as they skipped out on his payments, they're going to be calling the references asking for money.
Well, I like the education part. They were trying to educate them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a pretty big, what was it, 65% approval rate for the first.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time around, it was up to 80 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's almost like here at the beginning of the case, it's like, well, if we don't get our money back, we don't get our money back. You know,
They did have a really high loss percentage. He said less than $100 out of every 1,000, but that's almost 10%.
It's 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a bank and you're losing 10% of your loans or not paying back, then you're going to have issues.
and that was one of the concerns I had. I was like, holy smokes, how can you afford to lose 10%? 10% is shrinkage, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. That is a good, because the way they word it, it makes it not sound a lot. But when you guys are like 10%, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's a whole lot. And they just totally wrote that off. They planned on that.
right.
That's like every $100 bill, you take a $10 bill, wad it up and throw it in the garbage or burn it, set it on fire.
Right. That is crazy. I didn't even catch that.
I mean, they did have a high percentage interest, rate. It's like, holy
Yeah.
smokes.
They had to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Which I was trying to figure out. It's like, okay, it says 36%, but it says annual 26%. But it must be because they calculate that $45
Right.
to push it up there. But when you put that in with the average of the loan, it averages up to be about 36%. On $900, yeah, probably would. That's about right.
Yeah.
Doing the math in my head real quick there. But yeah, I mean, that really bothered me. It's like, where's the collection plan? And then in the back, finally then you start saying, oh, the one guy was pulled from collections when they were restructuring everybody around. And the guy that did the back end programming, he did such a wonderful job there. He only lasted a month at another position.
Yeah.
Ratchet up these goals, and he couldn't speak Spanish, so that didn't help because nobody else could speak English,
All right. You'd think he'd go learn or something. If I want to invest my future in serving the Hispanic market, let's learn Spanish.
But the thing that I kept writing was communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Communication. When they wanted to know how do you know this back end stuff? Well, I don't know. You got nobody.
Oh,
2008.
yeah.
2009.
Well, that was one of the main reasons Sears pulled out, because they couldn't even pinpoint where the process was going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's another good
Sears is like, no, you need to create a program for that. And they're like, no. Well, yeah, okay, maybe we should.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, they didn't have any quality control in processes or anything. They had no process. They just kind of were, we'll figure it out when we need to.
Right.
Like I said, he was a seat of the pants kind of guy. He just kind of flying along there. Well, some of the problems, like, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
That's scary when you're talking money.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's got an MBA, but he got it from Stanford. So. It was all cracked up to be. What can I say?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've hammered that out pretty good. So how much profit does Progreso earn? I did not know what numbers to use. Did you guys use the 7?
I got a bunch of questions.
They threw so many numbers out in so many different places, depending on the time of the year and where the moon was, and
the variables and how many loans the customer sold, because that would take away that. They said there was $180 per is what they figured the first time people would bring in, but that really wasn't a profit because they were losing money all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
they weren't profit, so I would say zero. They were losing money hand over fist.
I did some really rough estimations, and I'm about 100% certain that they're not correct. But I essentially followed like the formula of 180 times 65% times 80%. And,
Okay.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, I don't remember what else I did, but somehow I got $218.60. But who knows what that number is?
Okay, so you did.
Did you factor in the 10% shrinkage?
No. So I did the $180 times the 65% times 80, and it came up to $93.60 for the interest and fees for a loan.
You did 60. You did 180 times 65%
times 80%.
Times 80.
Times 80%.
93.
Yeah,
Numbers that were number 2.
Weird.
And I came up with $93.60 for interest and fees for the loan, but that's going to vary depending on what the loan amount is.
Right.
So I'm not sure what they're looking at right there.
Yeah, I mean, with the commission plan and all that stuff per loan, depends on how many the guy sold.
So did you guys figure out the customer acquisition cost from the prep assignment?
I didn't.
No.
Okay, so I don't even know. Like, I was reading the prep assignment. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm doing this right. So I was hoping that somebody did, so I could check my work.
These numbers just really.
They were very confusing because I didn't know. I'm glad that I'm not the only one. I was like, I'm probably the only one that couldn't figure that out.
Well,
So
it was so confusing. I mean, the way they did things, it's like, holy smoke.
So, Ethan, did you think that the profit they were making on each loan was $93 then? Is that what you're saying? Like roughly $94?
Yeah. When I said 218, I was looking at a different section. So I did get 93.6, I think.
Per loan. Okay. And then, like, if you guys look at I don't know if you have the prep assignment up, like question 2, like then they're saying they must pay 55% interest on the loan. So because they loaned, I didn't know this. I guess that Progreso borrows the money at a lower rate and then lends it at a higher rate. So they have to pay the 55 interest in the loan. So if you take that out of minus the 55 from profit,
they're making like $43 or
yeah,
$38.
Right.
Tell that $100 walks across the border, out of every 1,000.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, there's a reason why people were pulling out.
Right. It just wasn't.
They had no tracking of any sort, and finally they started figuring out that one. Kmart started getting ready to pull up states. Otherwise, they probably would have never did it. I mean, he only did stuff when he was forced to do it. It seemed like. And it's like there when he was going for that last round of funding, he was all worried. Oh my gosh, I ain't gonna get any. He's trying to do all this stuff.
I'm not like. Okay, so how many then? Okay, so how many loans then do they need to break even?
A lot.
Yeah, that's.
Because how much was there?
That's my answer.
Ethan, did you figure that out?
Which number section is that specifically?
Number 4 on the case discussion.
To break even.
Okay, so earn on a new loan.
It's 218 number.
So I didn't see.
Unit profitability.
77, 111, and 150.
Say that again?
On number 4, I don't see a break even. I just see 7 loans, 111.
Oh, that's that's on the prep assignment. I'm talking about the case discussion.
Oh, okay.
But I think that is the same. Isn't the unit profit? Oh, I don't know.
It's the unit profitability per loan on the case prep.
And is that the same as the break even?
No, on the prep, it's looking at, okay, at 77 loans per month, what is the profitability per unit?
Right.
At
So how do you
111 loans
calculate
per
that?
month, you have to figure out how much it's going to take to break even and what you're going to earn above and beyond that in those loans.
Okay, so
So you
I
have to have
figured
that
out
break-even point.
I figured out the customer acquisition number, like the total expenses. I have no idea if I even remotely did it right, but I have like the total expenses like monthly as 7,123. That and divide it by 3860 to figure out what the break even point is, right? The expenses divided by the profit per unit. That's like 184 loans.
Mm-hmm. Just to break even.
Just to break even.
Wait, how many loans just to break even?
184.
Like 185. That's if I did. I don't know if I got the expenses right.
Right. This is 2,000 in rent, and then Kmart was free, but it's just
Right.
Mhm.
So the way I figured it, because I took all those numbers from the prep assignment where it says like the monthly rent and then the fixed compensation. And this is what I don't understand. Why do they have that number listed in there and then want you to figure out like the $8 per hour, 40 hours a week? Like, so what's this fixed compensation? What does that mean?
I think that's just a total of adding all those up. They're explaining how they got that 3,118. So each
you got the $2,000 rent at the stores that you have to pay each month.
Right.
Where Kmart, you don't have to pay any rent. So that's why I was having such a hard time, was because maybe I'm overthinking it, because it depends on where the loans are going from.
Well, didn't they just say on this question they wanted us to figure it out from the grocery store aspect?
Yeah, maybe it was grocery.
I gotta move. I gotta move.
Oh, it does say, dang it. Boy, oh boy. No wonder I got such a headache. I can't even freaking think tonight.
It's the holidays are impending and we're almost done with the semester. That is
Oh
what
my
I
gosh.
have.
I'm counting down by how many case studies we have left. I'm so over these.
And we have one less next week.
Yay!
Yeah, I felt awful this afternoon and like passed out on the floor for 3 hours.
I took it down.
So I have no idea what's right.
I was sitting there last night calculating my grade. If I don't turn this case study in, how bad is it going to affect me?
So I didn't turn in the Ponder Improve last week because I couldn't do it. Like
50 pointer. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt my grade that much. Like surprisingly, it only brought me down like 50 points. Obviously 50 points, but it didn't drop I still have an A minus.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I could not wrap my head around it for some reason. It was just really. So I emailed Brother Roper and I was like, look, I am on vacation. I have a red-eye flight and this is not happening. It's not happening.
I actually have a lot easier time with the Ponder Improves than I do the case discussions.
Normally I do too.
Those are my down.
I'll take a Ponder Improve over a case study any day.
Yeah.
These cases, I'm getting pretty good at it. Although
It was the carbon 6 rings.
Nasty.
That's right. I don't remember anything ever. It just like goes in and out.
This one, my hypothesis would probably go back to what they want to do and start over.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not even sure what my hypothesis is going to be on this one. I'm like,
I have no clue, because this is they got such a mess.
It's such a train wreck.
At the end, they were starting to figure things out, but still, the communication. I mean, you got guys with MBAs that can only speak English, and you're hiring Spanish-speaking only people.
Right.
That's in your oh goodness. That's in your district sales managers. They're kind of.
Maybe they should hire.
My recruiter only spoke Spanish.
Yeah. From Guatemala.
And she's higher. Yeah, she's higher up in the company. I can understand having some AEs that don't speak English and things like that. That's their demographic. But you have senior management; they need to be able to talk to each other.
And this is in the United States. They're doing this company.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
California,
so
Texas,
time
and
out.
Illinois.
Going back to this fixed AE compensation, do you think that's for the 2 employees at each location, or do you think that's per employee?
That's per employee, I believe. It's because you have 2 there, but they probably, well, I'll take this one, you take the next one type deals or whatever.
Okay, well, let's see. 8.
So we're on question 5 because I had such a wonderful idea on this one.
Cool, let's hear it.
If I was doing it, I would do $1 per loan. Up to 35 loans, and then it's $35 for every loan after that. So you're motivated. It's like, oh my goodness, if I get one more loan, then I'm going to get, if you have, say, 5 loans, you're getting $5 a loan. So that's $25. If you get a 6th one, you just added $6 more. Plus, you added $12 right there by getting.
Yeah.
You get your 7th loan. That's another $14 because you get $1 for $13, I guess. So that would be quite a motivational factor rather than, if I get up to 14, then that's about all I need to do. This way they're driven. The extra loan, and if you teach them that dollar, you raise $1 more each loan you get. So you get, say, if you get 12 loans, you have 12 loans, you get $12 per loan. That's $144. Now, if you get your 13th loan, you're going to make another $25 just for your 13th loan.
Yeah, but that then drops your profit, though. Like, you're already not making that much money. If you give people that much incentive, you're not going to make any money at the end of the day.
Well, if they get up past 14, then it's 18 or 15 loans. It's $18 for every loan they got there. You'll be under that.
What was your idea, Ethan?
Mine was basically just a more general version of Rex's. Offer lower incentives, like lower dollar amounts, offer them earlier. So yeah, just more general. I didn't go into any specific strategy for it.
Because I don't think you want to AE only not getting above 14. You want everyone to have at least 14 a month. Because when they hit 15, they're going to get $18 for all 15 loans then. At my case, when they hit 15, they would get $15 for every loan.
For every loan?
Yeah, I haven't ran the numbers yet. I'm going to do a spreadsheet on that.
Yeah.
Or maybe what they should do is offer $50 for the first loan and then take off $1 for each additional loan. So if their 50th loan, they only get one extra.
But I mean, if they know that if I get one more loan, then they'll want to keep getting that one more loan because it's kind of like, you go from 5 loans. At $5 loan, you get your 6th loan. You get $6 for that 6th loan, plus you get $1 for each of the other 5. So you're getting $11 for that next loan.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a 7th, then you're going to get $13 for that next loan.
Right.
8, you get $15 for that next loan instead of just, And if they see that, then they're going to be wanting to get that next loan. And if you can have them all averaging 35 loans or 35 plus, that would be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're topping out quicker. You're topping out instead of 45, you're topping out 35. But I don't know how many people get the 45. When you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like there you got many.
No, I don't think they did.
At the locations, you're looking at the locations like, holy smokes. So I don't know.
Well, I think they can also get a little bit more creative. Put a phone in the kiosk and make some cold calls.
Yeah, that's smart.
They don't have people standing there all the time. So what are they doing with their spare time?
They could follow up on those people that filled applications and then never got loans. I looked at those numbers. Did you guys happen to look at that? Their app rate was fairly high, but then their actual delivered loan amount was very low.
Right.
So they could be calling, I mean, like they had 918 apps, 879 were completed, but they only funded 549 of those. And the numbers,
where those other 300 go.
Yeah, so why not, like you said, why not make that call? That's a good idea.
Yeah, kind of like part-time telemarketers or something.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, they're not going to have a line there constantly. They'll have a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm. And they're making money just sitting there.
You know, they probably have 5 to 10 people walk up in an 8-hour shift.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on a
but
busy.
Do you really think that is like, do you think there's that many people walking through a grocery store that sees a loan kiosk and is like, ooh, today I'm going to get a loan?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe 5 to 10 in an 8-hour shift and that's a lot. That's a busy day. So they've got a lot of downtime when they could be making those phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're figuring they're putting in 40 hours a week and they're hoping praying they'll get 45 loans a month.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you've walked past people in the kiosks at this mall, and they're so flippin' bored because nobody wants to stop and talk to them. I'm sure it's probably the same type of thing, you know.
Yeah, like going to Costco with the DirecTV guys there in their little kiosks.
They drive me crazy.
Ugh.
Hey, have you heard about our new deal?
Have you heard what we're doing for our Costco members?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I guess I'm kind of turned off to the whole idea anyways. Like, I don't walk into Costco to get DirecTV. So don't stop, you know what don't stop me. I don't want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those DirecTV customers since 1993. And when they talk about the great deals they're giving, it makes me very angry.
I left DirecTV because we'd been with them for years, and every year, you know, when they like readjust your packaging, I called them and they would always readjust it back to my old rate. But 2 years ago, when I called them, they wouldn't do it. Like, they would not budge, and I canceled. And every year, I always have to cancel, and they call me like the next day, and they're like, "Hey, just come back. We'll give you what you had before." This time, they didn't budge. They didn't move, so I ended up switching because I was not going to pay their fees.
Send their equipment back by day.
Yep, I did too. We went to Dish, and they've been great.
Now, you know, we could do $1 when there could be like a max, you know, when they get to like 20, then you start doing 50 cents for extra one. But still, even at 50 cents, that means on the 21st first customer, they get another $10 for all those 20 previous customers. So they're making $30 for that 21st customer.
Mm-hmm.
Or $30.50.
Gosh, that's half a shift right there.
Yeah. So I mean, that would, you know, you could take it up to 20 customers, and then on their 21st it drops to 50 cents. But still, that's a lot of money because you figure 50 times 20, that's $10 more plus the $20.50 for that next customer. So that's $30.50 to get that 21st customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I calculated the break-even point based on just the compensation instead of figuring in the other stuff, and it's still 133 loans to break even.
Yeah. So it's interesting that their target goal was 100 per month.
Right. So I could be figuring out those numbers wrong.
No, I believe them because I think their target goal was off.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, they were losing a lot of money.
They were.
But I think realistically, I mean, 133 is that 133 divided by 30? In a month, they have to do on average about 4 or 5 loans a day in order to meet that goal, to meet the break-even point. I just don't see that big of a demand in each location. I don't see that as a, unless they were saying,
I don't know. I can see that there's a demand. That's
per location. 133.
Yeah.
133 loans per location in a month. That's 5 loans per day per location. There's no way there's that much demand. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know. My brother-in-law worked at a payday loan for a long time, and he said their traffic was just crazy sometimes. And payday's even worse than, has worse interest rate release.
It depends on if it's the first day of the month or the last day.
Yes, very much so.
When they just get paid, then they don't need a loan. But when they start getting hungry because they busy, which a lot of people do, but tend to visit pawn shops. Like pawn shops, normally not very busy at the first month, but they're really busy at the end of the month or midway through the month. About midway through the month when it starts getting busy between pay periods. But this would be for ticket items. So.
All right, so let's go with the last question. Are we kind of good on number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So once we've made changes to the compensation plan, develop a broader action to include specific activities. Will you manage activities or results? I think both. Because activities add up to results.
Correct.
And you really do need to break it down on a cellular level.
Yeah.
And as far as keeping the current AEs in the beginning of it, no. I think pull them all out, close down the kiosk for a couple of days, do a big training program, explain the new structure. If you like, here's your uniform. If you like it, show up. If not, then no hard feelings. We'll, cut you your last check.
Well, I don't think they closed them down. They just pulled them out and trained them.
Yeah. Well, they need to just do just a massive.
Like I said, you could do that at the first of the month or something like that. When by this time they should have an idea when it's.
But they don't. They don't have any back end analytics system.
They don't track anything. They have no data. The only thing they track is them for the pay them back. Which I think it's ironic now on their current website. They tout their IT specialist and how good they are at and things like that. I just had to laugh.
Well, they got it done, finally in May of 2008 is when they hired that James Cabinet with his MBA from 2003 from Stanford. And by the end of 2008, they said they had completed all their work, and that's when he moved Cabinet to the sales stuff, and then Cabinet set them real small goals, and he had like mutiny. They had one of the worst months ever. And he was resigned quickly after that.
Yeah.
So they finally got it done, but I mean, that's in May, and they finally kind of got it finished at the end of 2008. And this is talking about when's this case go to win it? It's March of 2009.
Yeah. So they had a lot of change over a year. They did move a little
because they had to.
But it was such a train wreck.
To move, and so it created action for the guy. He finally got his rear in gear and started saying, "Oh, maybe I should address the issue." And by the time he addressed them, it was too late. Kmart was like, "Forget that. Sears and Kmart, adios."
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think it was a bad idea going that direction in the first place.
Right. I agree.
Maybe it was a good thing overall because it got him to finally take some action, address an issue. Because he was having them do sales after they got done with the back end, because he was such a good designer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think once they started focusing on that and kind of bringing that to, focusing on hiring salespeople instead of warm bodies that were still breathing.
But if you go to like page 9, you got
to turn
2008 building the sales organization. That first paragraph in the margins, I got little faith. Pointing to that first paragraph.
Yeah.
Cortez did not view the sales degraduate as an urgent matter. Moreover, he did not believe that the A team was actually capable of performing at a higher level.
Yeah,
Cortez
just
left.
the lack of confidence.
Yeah, Cortez left.
I think.
When did he leave?
He's like, I'm out.
He left in April of 2008. So he didn't have a lot of faith in the company and just got out. And that was one of the founders.
Well, one of the reasons I think they were more successful in the grocery stores than they were in Kmart and Sears is because they were in the Hispanic grocery stores where it's more of a culture to have individual vendors there. Okay. If you've ever been to grocery stores that cater mainly to Hispanics, Taylor, Jordan, I'm sorry. Jordan, have you ever been to like Ranch Market?
No.
If you go in, the entire front of the store is just kiosk.
Okay, so that makes sense then, why they would go there.
That's just how they have kiosks even on the outside. People, vendors that are selling things
in the parking lot,
store,
sidewalk and stuff.
Yeah,
it's almost like a flea market.
It really is. You can go and literally take care of every aspect of your life. You can buy life insurance.
Oh wow, interesting.
So
that is crazy.
That's
so
why they
have why they went there.
Grocery stores. Yeah. Right. It's just kind of the expectation. I mean, you go and you pay your facilities have out doors because they know that a lot of the Hispanics don't have those to pay their bills online.
Okay, that makes sense then. Well, then I guess it would make sense why they were there and why maybe that $5 6 loans per day makes sense if they've got that much traffic in and people are going to pay their bills and they may not have the money that month. I guess that makes sense.
Or they want to send some money back to Mexico.
Yeah.
From Mexico,
Oh yeah, they got their Western Unions there too.
Money orders to Mexico is a great big business.
Oh yeah, it is.
Because a lot of them come up here to make money so they can, send it home to their families.
Right.
And some are illegal, some are legal.
Yeah, that makes a good point.
So the ones that might not be so legal, they probably don't want to run into a bank.
Right.
They would rather do it from like a kiosk type setting.
Well, unless they've stolen someone's identity, they don't have a credit file. They can't borrow money. They can't set up a credit card.
But a lot of them, they own 2 or 3 different identities.
True.
I wonder if these guys checked their credit or if they just did it based on
They don't. That was one of their things, is that it's to help them build their credit, but they're not checking their credit. They're expecting these people to come in with no credit history whatsoever.
And then they wanted to educate them too about how important it is.
Right.
And making payment.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. By the time you've had 3 loans and paid them off, then you can go get a loan anywhere you want to, as long as you pay it off right, you know.
Right.
Right.
I would probably keep the guys that they be trained, and evaluate them when you're training them.
Right. Well, that, and also get those metrics in place and those expectations, as well as I think you need to train first, so that management, after the training, they can coach and develop them, and the ones that are willing to work and improve, keep them. The ones that are not, then it's time to go.
Well, you also could have the carrot about, hey, if you want to be management, you have to do a good job at this level, and we'll also train you to be management.
Mm-hmm.
Give them that carrot, before you beat them with
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Yeah, I think getting a management training program in place is actually more important than getting in.
And they were doing that there at the
program.
end too. So I mean, they were starting to do a lot of training, which it's like, what the heck took you so long?
Right.
And then they start tracking there at the end. What took you so long? And they decided to start tracking the sales too after they got done tracking the back end. Like,
Right.
holy smokes, I just fly by the seat of his pants kind of guy. And
Yeah, this is not 1970 when you don't have the technology to run algorithms and spreadsheets and things like that. I mean, a simple Excel sheet would go
Right.
a lot of the stuff that they needed to
I shouldn't
do.
say it, but I kept wondering the whole time, what did he learn getting his MBA?
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Sorry, you broke up right there. What was that?
He was thinking the same thing.
No, with your question, what did he learn?
What did he learn?
What did he learn?
From MBA from Stanford. I mean, this guy had an MBA from Stanford. Holy smokes. What did they teach him, or what did he learn?
I don't know. Maybe
we know not to get our MBAs from Stanford.
They're supposed to have one of the top MBA programs in the nation.
If it's not Harvard, it's nothing.
Yeah, they're right at Harvard.
Yeah.
They're the Harvard of the West.
Yeah. Are any of you guys planning on going for your MBA?
Nope.
Not me.
I'm planning on
I'm
going
like,
into
oh
the
no.
mining industry.
You're doing what, Ethan?
I want to become a professional mountain guide.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He likes
That
climbing
would be
rocks.
awesome.
Very cool.
Oh,
I
excuse me.
remember that from his little intro. He really is into climbing rocks and rock faces.
That's really cool, Ethan.
Thanks.
Okay, so I'm curious. Guys, as of right now, kind of see your hypothesis being. Are you going to kind of go in the direction of what he needs to improve? All sales? I mean, are you going to go really broad? Are you going to narrow it down?
They need a new CEO.
Yes.
They need to do everything.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna.
Time for him to step aside as a co-founder and get in somebody that can do the job that he's not doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go that direction, but boy, I was thinking that the whole freaking time through the case.
I just think they need to overhaul their operations.
Because it seemed like the only time he would make a change that you're thinking is an obvious change, or he's making changes like, well, shoot, he should have done this a long time ago, was when he kind of was pushed into the change.
Well, maybe he needs, if he's not willing to step aside, maybe he needs a board to kind of give him direction.
Didn't they say he had a board that they weren't very happy with the way that their investment was going, that members of the investment community were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking on my
It did say Progreso's board and investors were extremely concerned about the company's ability to ever become profitable.
Right. Well, they're not. They're like losing. I mean, just based on the fact that they had to have X amount of, what was it, 100 and something loans per day or per month.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've been looking at it that way because I mean, like I've been saying, what did he do, at Stanford, for crying out loud, getting that MBA? I mean, it's like you would expect a whole lot more. Well, I personally expect a whole lot more from a Stanford grad, especially from the MBA program.
Yeah, well, we don't know what his
Right.
grades were, so maybe he didn't do very good.
I didn't think about it that way.
Or you know what? Maybe it was just in a different area. This was just not his,
No, he was probably more
entrepreneurship.
He was probably
Yeah,
more
he
of a
was. He came from the financial.
degrees type kind of guy, and so he's running his company. He's like, "C's get the job done," but it really doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, he came from a financial background. He worked in the banking industry. That doesn't necessarily mean he knows how to create a business.
Right.
But he is
A
very
lot.
good at getting money, because that last investment, there was no way I thought he was going to get the money because of how atrocious his business was looking.
Right. But see, there's just different skill sets. So, he may have done great in his MBA program, but it was not in entrepreneurship.
So that's the direction I'm going. I've decided now, because he can raise funds, he can be an owner, he can be, founder and all that stuff, but he can't get the job done running the company.
No, because he did have a really good business idea, and he found that niche that was missing.
I mean, he had a good idea, but he's just got, the whole business has a bad execution. I got that in my notes too. Let's see which one.
Totally.
It's which elements of the business model are evaluated. I said the business model looks good, but it's poor execution.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yep. All right.
I agree.
Well, I'm gonna have to leave because I have work early tomorrow morning.
Hey, me too.
I just want to go to bed. So.
Go to bed. That's my plan too.
Yeah, I finished my homework at 11 o'clock last night, and I went in to talk to my son. He's like, "Don't you have to be up in like 3 hours?" I was like, "Yep."
Oh, that's really crappy.
That's been my whole week. And then I forgot to do a discussion board in one of my other classes. I'm like, crap. And it's one of those that you don't have very many points, so a discussion board is a big deal.
Ooh, that's the worst.
So now I'm like, well, he doesn't accept them late, so do I even want to do it?